Meghan's American Riviera Orchard brand might team up with Netflix to assist in its management since it's struggling to find a CEO. But is this a wise move on Netflix's part? Additionally, there's chatter about Meghan's husband, Harry, allegedly receiving $250,000 for presenting the Military Times Award, which has ties to billionaire Arcelor Mittal. I'll delve deeper into these claims in my upcoming video to uncover the truth. Hello friends, welcome to the King YouTube channel. So here's the scoop on Meghan Markle's American Riviera Orchard brand. They're still struggling to find a CEO, despite her supposedly searching far and wide. But honestly, it's not all that surprising. Meghan's known for not exactly being the most hardworking person around. Who'd really want to take on the role of her CEO, right? Well, guess what? Netflix seems interested in jumping into the mix. According to reports from a source based in California, the search for a CEO hasn't been successful yet. Meghan is reportedly considering a new approach with negotiations underway with Netflix for a commercial partnership with American Riviera Orchard. It makes sense since Netflix is always on the lookout for fresh content. Who knows, maybe American Riviera Orchard will spark some new ideas for them, or maybe not. Honestly, I'm struggling to see how this move will benefit Netflix. The American Riviera Orchard brand seems like a total mess, with failure and chaos at every turn. Even if Meghan were to pay a CEO top dollar, it might not be enough because she's unlikely to heed anyone's advice. Meghan Markle doesn't seem to have a knack for business, so even if Netflix or anyone else tries to lend a hand, I doubt it'll make much difference. This business appears destined for failure. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some shady business going on, like tax fraud or grifting. Netflix has already partnered with Arcelor Productions, Harry and Meghan's production company. They'll likely take a hefty cut of any profits, which could end up in Meghan's pocket as a personal dividend. Meghan's hoping Netflix will rescue her American Riviera Orchard venture, but let's face it, the brand doesn't have much going for it. The name's silly and no one's endorsing it. It's basically worthless. It's hard to understand why Netflix would want to associate with them. Why risk their reputation on such a questionable duo? Frankly, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing this whole thing crash and burn. That's exactly what's likely to happen, and Netflix will end up regretting it again. It's also interesting how they spin the success of their shows. They try to make it seem like they're doing great, but the truth is often different. If Netflix decides to partner with this questionable figure once more, I think they'll see a lot of employees jumping ship. Personally, I've already canceled my membership a few years back when they first got involved with Harry and Meghan. Why can't Meghan find a CEO? Well, perhaps she's not offering enough money. Maybe she thinks the privilege of working for a duchess is payment enough. If Netflix can find a CEO, why can't Meghan? Well, I guess it's because Netflix is willing to pay and Meghan isn't. If Meghan has indeed been at this for a year, as claimed, then why hasn't she secured any investors by now? It's probably because she's lazy and doesn't put in the effort. The entire brand seems to rely solely on her Duchess title, which doesn't bode well for its success. I doubt Meghan would offer fair pay to anyone working for her. She likely thinks it's a privilege to work for her, just like in the royal family where they're not paid much. But here's the thing, CEOs typically run established companies with manufacturing, finances, marketing, and sales departments. Meghan's company, on the other hand, seems to exist in name only. I can't even imagine what the job description would look like. They'd need some pretty innovative ideas to make this thing work. And smart investors would steer clear of anything associated with Meghan Markle. It's unlikely that people would want to buy into anything she's involved with, given her reputation as someone who's only interested in money and not afraid to cut corners. Plus, how much money does Meghan even have to pay a CEO? Her product launch hasn't even been approved yet. So, Netflix teaming up with Meghan seems like a way to save face because she can't seem to find anyone willing to work for her. Despite being hailed as a businesswoman, she can't handle running the business herself and needs someone else to do it for her. It's honestly quite laughable. We all saw this coming. Meghan's grand ideas rarely pan out. Remember her 40 by 40 initiative? Exactly. In a few months, this American Riviera Orchard venture will likely fade into obscurity, just like her other projects. If Meghan truly wanted to venture into manufacturing and selling jam, she should seek out someone with experience and success in that field, maybe even partner with them to manage the brand. Trying to start a new business with a streaming giant like Netflix doesn't seem logical. And can you imagine how much Harry and Meghan are resented by the genuine creatives in Hollywood? There are countless talented individuals striving to make it in the industry, writers, actors, filmmakers who are struggling to catch a break. Yet here are Harry and Meghan receiving opportunities they haven't earned. The American Riviera Orchard brand is at risk of collapse because Meghan Markle lacks business acumen. Who would ask their famous friends to promote jam for them? It's making her even more unappealing. It's also tasteless and low class. But then again, that's Meghan for you, such an amateur. Someone with a recognizable name like Meghan Markle shouldn't need their celebrity friends to vouch for them. It seems like Harry and Meghan are getting PR favors from others, which is absurd. They used to be royalty, but how the mighty have fallen. And look at where they've ended up. A pair of fraudsters having to rely on Hollywood celebrities to sell their products. I just can't understand why Netflix would want to get involved in this jam business. They're a streaming giant for crying out loud, and now they think it's a good idea to manage Meghan's jam brand. It's utterly ridiculous and nonsensical. Meghan tried a similar move with WME, aiming to develop R12 into a production company, but it didn't work out. It's evident that both the supposed cooking show and the polo shows are being produced by real professionals, not by Harry and Meghan themselves. It's clear that Meghan is putting an effort to convince the higher-ups at Netflix that the American Riviera Orchard brand holds some value, but let's face it, it's pretty much worthless. Building a brand requires significant investment in product development, logistics, online stores, administration, sales, you name it. Since Meghan can't find anyone willing to take on the CEO role for her company, she's relying on Netflix to bail her out financially. Yet the company doesn't even have any products yet. Meghan is already so tied up with this venture that she can't honor her podcast commitment to LaMotta until at least 2025. So, in essence, Meghan is busy doing nothing at all, which prevents her from pursuing something that might actually be successful. Here are a couple of ideas for Meghan. Firstly, she could start this business from her basement with just a few products, gradually expanding on her own. Maybe her family and friends could pitch in to help with packing deliveries. Alternatively, she could start big. However, starting small would require hard work, which, let's be honest, isn't Meghan's strong suit. But considering she doesn't even have a dedicated CEO, how would she manage to start big? Supposedly, this venture has been in development for months, but what exactly has been happening? If this turns out to be true, folks, it'll go down in history as one of the biggest brand failures ever. A regular person would already secured outside investors and hired a CEO before announcing the brand launch. Obviously, this hasn't happened, or Meghan wouldn't be seeking help from Netflix. Netflix doesn't need to partner with Meghan on this. If they wanted to host her cooking show, fine, but they don't need to invest in the retail aspect. Frankly, I think Meghan's just desperate right now. However, Netflix could simply pick up her show and refuse to invest in the retail part. If this is true, it just highlights Meghan's inadequacy and complete incompetence in business. Any investor should think twice before giving her their money. It's insane how quickly American Riviera Orchard is falling apart. I thought Meghan would keep up this jam scam for at least another week or two. But it seems like after sending out the first 5 or 6 jars, she ran out of fake friends to send them to. If Netflix were to partner with anyone on a profitable spin-off or lifestyle brand, would it be Meghan Markle? Absolutely not. They've worked with her before and know it's impossible to collaborate with her. She lacks original ideas and just copies others. Why wouldn't they partner with someone like Marie Kondo, Serena Williams, Kris Jenner, or Taylor Swift? These individuals know how to get things done and have huge fan bases. It just doesn't make sense. Meghan must be out of her mind to think Netflix would start a new business just to line her pockets. No competent CEO would want anything to do with her. She's a total disaster and ruins everything she touches. Honestly, she hasn't even secured a trademark yet, let alone have any products or a CEO in place. It seems like it's all just fabricated. Harry and Meghan haven't contributed anything substantial. They lack talent. This situation might just be a case of a Netflix CEO trying to save face because he made the foolish decision to hire this talentless duo, costing shareholders money. It's all about his ego now, trying to salvage some value from these two losers because he's the one who hired them. But you know what? I hope he suffers the same fate as they do. Those inflated egos need to be brought back down to reality. All right, let's switch gears a bit because I've got another interesting story related to Prince Harry. He's been accused of defrauding veterans by charging $250,000 to award a vanity prize to a woman, supposedly a veteran recognized by the Military Times. Many people are questioning who exactly sponsors these questionable awards as they're not endorsed or awarded by the US military. If Harry truly received $250,000 for a Zoom call, that's a serious issue. It's a hefty sum of money. Some sources suggest that this money came from billionaire Lakshmi Mittal, who not only funded the military times but also owns mines in Congo where the Baka people have reportedly been tortured and even killed. If these accusations are true, it could shed light on Harry's silence regarding the crimes committed against the Baka people by his own charity rangers, the African Parks Charity Rangers. Let's delve into some background about Lel first. He's the founder of his own company called Arcelor Alabama and is ranked as the 70th richest billionaire globally. His assets are estimated to be as high as $14.4 billion USD, according to Forbes. Sources indicate that Arcelor Alabama operates in the mining industry and has a reputation for collaborating with corrupt politicians to exploit the Earth's natural resources. When we talk about large companies involved in heinous acts, Arcelor Alabama is one of the names that often comes up. Reportedly, they have been complicit in multiple murders of indigenous people in South American countries, individuals who were simply trying to protect their lands and protest the appalling conditions of mining workers. It's pretty clear why Harry has been accused of defrauding veteran soldiers and allegedly receiving $250,000 from Malal supplies. There could be an implicit connection in all of this. But what baffles me is why a British prince is awarding an American soldier with an award. What's wrong with the military? Just imagine what that amount of money could do for real veterans. American veterans should be speaking out against Harry for this. It's truly appalling and a slap in the face to real us veterans. Look at how Harry has treated British veterans. He's not even American. He should stay far away from our politics, military, and freedom of speech. Americans need to wake up to this. We need to call out whoever paid him money to dress up and present awards to American soldiers. It's our military. Just like British veterans would be upset if an American were representing them, American soldiers should be represented by fellow Americans, not by a British prince. I'm sorry, folks, but this is unacceptable. Who arranged this whole thing? Why did they need to pay Harry? Harry isn't a real soldier. Let's be clear, the only thing Harry ever did in Afghanistan was play Call of Duty in a bunker. It's a slap in the face and deeply offensive to real soldiers. And what's even crazier is that they're spending $250,000 on Harry presenting an award when they're too broke to help pay veterans' medical bills. Whoever approved paying Harry this ridiculous amount should be fired. Honestly, an award given by Harry means nothing. He's a liar and a coward who's tried to undermine his own family and country's monarchy. Yet, someone thought it was appropriate for him to present an award. Harry doesn't deserve that money either. If he or Meghan were genuine philanthropists, wouldn't they do these things for free or donate the money to charity? It's frustrating how celebrities often prioritize helping themselves over helping others. It's sickening. On one hand, I find it laughable that Harry shamelessly displays medals he didn't earn. On the other hand, I'm disgusted that he charged money to honor veterans with fake awards. The truth is, Harry can't grant access to the king, nor does he possess any soft power since he stepped away from his role as a working royal. So it's absurd that he would receive such a hefty sum for doing nothing. Yet, many billionaires seem eager to assist him. I wonder why. Clearly, they find him useful in some way. He's quite easy to manage and influence, that much is obvious. But let's not forget, billionaires only care about transactional relationships that are not Harry's friends. It must be some sort of transaction, but the question is, what kind? When you consider the wide spectrum of opinions on Harry, those for him, against him, and those who don't care either way, it paints a subjective picture with plenty of disagreement about what it all means. These billionaires are simply making their own uninformed guesses about how their actions might benefit them, taking a risk in the process. I'm also waiting for someone in the military, a veteran, to call him out on this. He's such an embarrassment, such a fool. Does he truly believe the American military wants or needs recognition from someone like him, especially after his wife, in a display of narcissism, walked in front of veterans at Invictus? They're both so tone-deaf and inappropriate, it's almost like a joke. Anyway, let's set aside the discussion about how much he was paid, or if he was paid at all. The fact that Arcelor Mittal was associated with the military times and had mining operations in the Congo raises red flags for me. In my opinion, it warrants further investigation. As far as I know, Arcelor Mittal relies on minerals from the Congo for its manufacturing processes. From the research I've done, it appears they don't mine directly in the Congo, but they do purchase minerals mined there. They have released a statement pledging to only buy conflict-free minerals. But how reliable is that promise when indigenous people in Greenland, for example, are protesting against Arcelor Mittal because their mining activities are negatively impacting the environment. Arcelor Mittal relies on minerals mined in the DRC and has a track record of disregarding indigenous people's rights. While their commitments may sound promising on paper, a simple Google search for Arcelor Mittal violations over the years reveals numerous incidents. They may talk the talk, but like many mining companies, their actions often speak louder. There's no escaping the fact that Lakshmi Mittal is at the center of it all. He's always been known for his corruption and sleazy dealings. Despite this, he has donated a significant amount of money to the Princess Trust. He's acquainted with King Charles and likely even met Harry when he was younger. What's becoming increasingly clear is that these billionaires helping Harry have their own motives. Essentially, he's like a useful pawn for them. But do these billionaires not expect anything in return? Is Lakshmi Mittal one of them? One thing that really bothers me is Harry's silence on the crimes against the Baka people in the Congo. There's little coverage of this in mainstream media. At this point, all we can do is use the available facts to try to understand what's happening. Why is he staying silent on this issue? More people need to be discussing the fact that Harry hasn't spoken out about these crimes. The fact that Arcelor Mittal relies on minerals from the Congo also raises concerns, especially if Harry received $250,000 for presenting that award as reported. Another interesting aspect to consider is that Lakshmi Mittal was and perhaps still is one of the biggest donors to the Prince's Trust, and he personally knows King Charles. I'm not sure how he orchestrated this latest stunt, but it's become apparent that at events where they speak or present awards, they either crash them, which seems to be Meghan's favorite, or they're paid to be there. Consequently, people have no choice but to allow them to speak or present awards. Now, regarding Harry's medals worn at this recent event, a content creator pointed out that these medals aren't what many people believe them to be. They're commemorative medals not awarded for any acts of bravery. While Harry served in the military, these medals don't symbolize any real combat or acts of valor, and that $250,000 could have gone to veterans. Harry is such a fraud. He stood there acting like he was some decorated vet, but there was only one medal that was actually for service in Afghanistan, and he had full personal protection the whole time. I think most families would want something like that for their children. Now, let's talk about those medals he's so proud of. One was a military medal, and the others were Jubilee medals. They weren't earned, they were just gifts from his grandmother, the late Queen, for her Jubilees to celebrate her service to the UK. I think the late Queen told us everything we needed to know when she stripped him of his military titles. And remember, folks, this is an ongoing discussion, so if you have more information that might make me reconsider my opinion, please share it. I'm completely open to revising my viewpoint when presented with new facts. So, what evidence do we have that billionaires are assisting Harry, and why might he be useful to them? Is Lakshmi Mittal really aiding Harry? Who knows, but it's certainly within his means. Frankly, the way I'm connecting the dots, I strongly believe that Lakshmi Mittal would pay $250,000 through military times to buy Harry's silence on the matter of the Baka people in the Congo. And if I'm wrong, well then, Harry, speak out. Say something. Defend those poor people that the African Parks Charity Rangers are mistreating. So in conclusion, let's sum up the issue and my opinion regarding Netflix working with Meghan to run American Riviera Orchard. It's doomed to fail because Meghan is a lazy grifter, plain and simple. Corporate giants like Spotify also had a lot to say about Meghan Markle's working attitude, and it was nothing good. Even Lemon is trying to get some content from Meghan, and they are experiencing some major roadblocks. So now she's still hanging on to Netflix, and this plan is going to fail. As for Harry getting $250,000, I mean, there's a lot behind this story. There is a lot that's been covered up. But what I have found out is that Harry's silence on the African park problems is relevant to this case. And I suspect that Harry has been bribed by this billionaire because the billionaire is owning the mines in Congo, where the Baka people have been murdered and brutalized. Now, that's just my opinion. I hope the information I just shared is useful to you, and I would love to hear more about your opinions because they're so valuable. They really enrich our discussions and help us approach topics from different angles. Thank you so much for tuning in. Goodbye for now, and I'll be back to see you in new videos from the King YouTube channel.